which is, oh, good. Look at that. There's the pair of them. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, what I like to do is to create videos that I would have found helpful when I first got out looking for treasure. Now today we have a treat because I happened upon a cache of jewelry bags. It was also half off day, so this is $5 today. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and go through this. If you haven't been watching my videos for a while, I'll talk a little bit about what these are. Grab a little old sterling tray here and pour it out. A lot of thrift shops end up, especially in the summer, depending on where you are, they just ended up completely overloaded with stuff. And things it just gets to a point where there's just too much stuff. And it's not, it's not super valuable, so it just gets chucked into a bag or a jar. That's the jewelry jar, mythical jewelry jar you may have heard of, or the jewelry bag in this case. And then they just get sold. You never know what you're going to find in these. A magnet is always useful for them. I generally expect to find a little bit of silver, or hopefully find a little bit of silver. But, for the most part, these are something that's good for, and this is just going to be steel. Oops. Kind of broke it there. A lot of glue. And, stuff like that. Little broken things that just end up in a place where they can't be. This is just plastic. Paparazzi, just stuff that can't be sold for some reason. So typically, if you're going to buy one of these, understand that you're mostly buying crafting materials. Sometimes, though, you find sterling. That's a real pretty little piece. I hope the other one's in here. Oftentimes, it's like single earrings. Keep in mind, like with thrift shops, they're having to put like all the earrings onto something like that, and as a consequence, it can mean that they just run out of time. There's often limited staffing, or sometimes there will be things like this, which it looks like it's a homemade silver ring, or a ring that's just in not the best shape. Well, interesting. Is that 900 silver? Is that 500 silver? Or things that are just weird, like this. It's Mexican, I think. I guess it says 925 there. For any of you Mexican silver collectors, I hope that these markings will be able to help you understand what's going on with that. So yeah, there's an old Mexican silver ring. That's not bad. But it doesn't look super duper right off. So when you're dealing with the massive amounts of jewelry that come into some of these places, it's not really a surprise that stuff just ends up having to go here, because even like trying to put it out on the floor and trying to sell it just doesn't happen. And like single earrings, this is just how they sell them. They sell them in bags here. So that's sterling. That's nice. Oh, that's real pretty. It's kind of an interesting, that's a pair. So I'm going to set that aside. I don't think they're silver though. They have kind of a nickel silver look to them. There's a real good example of a super cheap ring. Those are like, get those on Amazon for 100 for 10 bucks. They're sterling. Got 925 on there. So yeah, and it depends on which one you get. Sometimes these bags will be really good. Sometimes they're not so good. And it also depends on sort of how the sorting goes at the thrift shop. And then it also depends on volume and staffing. These days, a lot of times this kind of looks like silver, but if it was, I think it would be marked. A lot of times there just isn't enough time. There's another thing that people don't really understand sometimes about the thrift shop business, that it's pretty much all clothes. Like, their time is consumed by sorting and cleaning and hanging up clothes and selling them, and most of their money in most thrift shops, maybe all thrift shops for that matter, is clothing related. So the jewelry is often just kind of an afterthought. You know what I'm forgetting here is our magnet. No, I don't know. I'm going to put that up there. That might be silver. So, oh, that looks like silver. Look at that. So, when you see that the jewelry is somewhat neglected, that's kind of an interesting thing. Why is it black? We're going to put that over there. It's not marked 925, so This looks like it's probably silver, though. So yeah, you know, if you feel like the jewelry at a thrift shop is neglected, just remember, it probably is. I think that's silver. We'll put that in our probable silver pile. It probably is because, honestly, they just don't necessarily have enough time for it. And that happens. So you'll see me use the magnet here. And as I do so, you'll see stuff gets picked up. Like that is very clearly plated. That's a chain that's plated. And it's like steel or something, which is why it's so strong. That doesn't mean that the pendant is also not real, but it does mean that the chain isn't. So here, when you use the magnet to pick up a bunch of stuff, you always want to just double check and look over everything and make sure that it actually is something the magnet should have picked up, because you'll get hitchhikers. So we got all sorts of stuff going on here. Like one of the things too you always want to do is sometimes the backs, like here, you can end up with gold or silver backs. In this case, none of this is gold or silver. Gold or silver will typically not really react to the magnet. Occasionally, you'll get a piece of gold or silver that will. My understanding is if it has a high nickel content. But when a piece of gold or silver does react to the magnet, one of the things that happens, and that's plastic, it's super light and super warm. Tells you right off, those are just plastic beads. But when you do get like a piece of silver or gold that reacts to the magnet, it's a very weak reaction generally. You're not getting a very strong one, which is, oh, good. Look at that. There's a pair of them. So the magnet is still very useful because anything that's like strongly attracted to it is just like steel with some, hey, look at this. We have more pairs. Oh, that's why that's in there. It's missing a stone. That's sad. Still silver. So yeah, the magnet is a very useful tool for very quickly sorting through things. Now, like this is just a cheap brass ring and it doesn't react to the magnet. So the magnet isn't like proof of anything, but it does tell you what you need to pay closer attention to. However, here you can see I've grabbed two things. So I want to make sure I separate them out and then inspect the other thing. That's not getting picked up by the magnet, but it's also, I don't know, it's weird. It's plated. You can see where all the copper is coming through. It's kind of a pretty little piece, but seems like some kind of enamel in there. Oh, we've already seen that one. That one can go. There we got magnetism, pretty strong magnetism. Pieces like this always bother me because I've never found one that is gold, but they're usually made out of brass, so they don't usually react. So they're always a bit of a, I wouldn't say they're tricky necessarily, because when you inspect them close, you see that they're brass, but I will say that they'll get you excited when they shouldn't get you excited. Like, I'm kind of excited about that right there. And I continue to be excited about it because it's not reacting to the magnet. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's get rid of some of this other stuff. One of the fun things with something like this is when you do have pairs, you can go, oh, hey, look, there's a pair of them. We'll get those out because we've already checked them. That looks good for silver, doesn't it? Those are interesting, at least. Might be plate. Yep. I think those are just plate. That is... oh, it's a little stick pin. Interesting. Ooh, what do we got here? That is a Freemason 32nd degree. Now, these are frequently made out of gold. A lot of these old Mason pins are. That one is gold fill, which is cool too. So gold fill, in case you're not aware, is a very thick sort of gold plate. It's actually, when we say gold plate, typically we mean like, we're meaning electroplating, where you're depositing an extremely thin layer. Oh, these are cool. Oh, scrimshaw, probably bone or plastic. I'm going to put those aside because I like them. Plate typically means we're depositing very, very, very thin layers of silver or gold on something using electricity and chemicals. Those are going to go in my nicer pile. They're just nice and they're a pair. So oftentimes when we say plate, that's what we mean. Now, technically, gold fill is also gold plate, but it's actually like a thick layer, like an actual sheet of gold that is bonded to, I'm going to see if the other one of these is in here, that's bonded to like brass or copper, generally brass. Let's double check that. Yep. Generally, it's bonded to brass. Here's a good example of a ring where the copper's all coming through. So that's electroplate. In fact, let's just show you a good example of this. So like this is electroplating. You can see where all this copper is coming up. And that's just because electroplating is it's microns thick. It just wears off when you use it. If you ever hear me refer to trash rings, this is what I'm talking about right here. In fact, I'm going to use that as a good example of a trash ring in the future. Let's put that someplace safe, shall we? Whereas gold fill, and like here's a gold fill piece I found from another bag, you can see where there's verdigris from the brass that's breaking down, but wherever there's actual gold, it's real thick and looks really dang good. I should have a good piece here to show you. Here it is. See how this is flipping up right there? That's gold, and that plate that's flipping up is gold fill. So this is an example of how much gold there is. So as opposed to microns of gold, which you can literally rub off with your fingernail, you have an entire sheet of gold. So, and as I keep talking here, I'm becoming more and more convinced that we did very nice on this particular jewelry bag because, we did much better. Okay, I'm getting excited. Are you seeing what I'm getting excited about? Let's get all this stuff out of the way. We don't need any of this stuff. Maybe we need that one. Nope, that's plate. Okay, let's just get it away. Okay, you can. Oh, nope. Okay, I'm just gonna get the rest of this. Oh, is that something we need to pay attention to? Nope. Okay. Off you guys go over there. Let's double check you. Maybe you're silver. Yeah. Little 925 there. Okay. These guys, we'll pull these out. All of you can go away. All right. Let's just double check here. Okay, I'm pretty sure these are gold. Let's have us a look-see. And the reason I'm pretty sure they're gold, or at least gold fill, is they're really like thin. They may be dirty, and the hinge may have a little verdigris, but I think what we have there, what does that say? Something. When I'm filming these, it can be hard for me to see what's going on. All right, I'm gonna use a loop. So I think they say like something like Carl A 14. There's a lot of verdigris going on there, so we'll give them a little scrub. And we'll go ahead and maybe we'll acid test these too. So what'll happen sometimes, and I don't know if it's the case with these, what'll happen sometimes is that you'll have like a 14K mark and it will be the wire here, whereas this won't actually be karat gold. And that might be what's going on with these. But we'll give them a scrub, then we'll give them a little acid test. But this guy, let's have a look here. No, maybe silver? Maybe nothing? Nope, that's nothing. All excited for nothing. So there's where the magnet will steer you wrong, because that's copper. And that's a good example of electroplate on copper, where it's so thin it just wears off. That'll go in our trash rings. And we'll go off and we'll test that real quick on the table where we do the acid testing. These cleaned up nicely. So we're gonna test a couple things on these. One is we'll test the wire, and we'll see is the wire gold. I suspect that the wire itself is going to be 14 karat for sure. Now what I don't know is the rest of it gold. So then we'll also go ahead and test the main body here. We'll do it in a spot that's a little less obvious, right straight on the bottom. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to get it off enough material that if it is plated, we get through to that plating. And then I'm not going to use this line. So we're just going to look at it and see, not seeing anything. So if there was plating, we should be down past that now. So then we'll use this line. But yeah, you're doing a little bit of destruction to your piece, but not that much, realistically. And if you don't know if they're gold anyways, this is what's going to tell you that. Okay, so we're going to check 14. And if it isn't 14, if it is 10, we'll just go ahead and do one more little dot there. All right, and then we're going to just start off with 14 here, because why not? 14 goes straight away, but that said, look what's happening with our wire. Now let's check this with 10, and I'm guessing probably, is it gonna stay? Well, interesting. I'm going to pause this, give it a minute, and then we'll come back. Well, we have excellent results here because this tells us what's going on. That little marking is 14 karat for the wires. The rest of it, however, is plated. You can remember when I said that I did this one first because any of the gold would then rub off, and then I did this one second because we would be down through the plate? This could be giving you false hope that maybe it's low carat, maybe it's 9 karat, maybe it's 10 karat. And that's because some of the plate on the surface is in there. But it's not. So the bodies of these are not gold. The wires, however, are, which is great. I mean, we paid $5 for this. So as crazy as it sounds, for anyone who isn't really into precious metals right now, we got more than $5 worth of gold just in those wires. And gold is so crazy, crazy high that if we were to take off those wires and scrap them, we'd get our money back and probably more. I'm not going to take those off because I want to use these earrings for future videos, particularly where we talk about gold testing with acid, because they are the perfect example for us to show where we have a marking that's telling us it's 14 karat, but the whole thing is not. So with that, let's get back to the other. Right, let's finish up this video here, shall we? So I think we did fine on this. Realistically, we got enough gold just in those wires to pay for the $5 and then some. More importantly, though, I always love a learning opportunity, and these are a perfect learning opportunity. In fact, those are going to get put into, what should we put them into? Barbara. We'll do Barbara. And those are going to be used for a future video. Got some nice gold fill. Let's put that in gold fill. And then why don't we go ahead and weigh up what we know to be sterling and see, how much we have there. So this, I'm sure, is $5 in sterling, but we'll see. All right, well, depending on when you're watching this video and where silver has gone, 11.35 grams of sterling is more than $5. Unless things have crashed to an insane degree, we did great. And that's always fun with these, and I love a good learning opportunity. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, share it around, really helps out the channel. But most importantly, I hope that you learned something in this video that you can use to go out and find yourself some treasure.
Like this, I've been Thomas.